What's good, y'all? Back again today with a very special video. So today we're gonna do something special, and you're not gonna see my face today, fortunately for you, because I'm ugly as fuck. But we're gonna read something, and it's important to read certain things. Like, I really don't like reading books like that. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I believe through research, which is slightly different than reading, and personal experience, you can pretty much know all you need to know. And some people do read on their free time just for fun. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just personally don't do it. So, but I had to read this, and we're gonna read it together, okay? So let's go. So, what you're looking at here is a screenshot from an article about YouTube. An official article about YouTube. Yes, the same platform that you're watching this very video on now. And I just got to be honest and frank before I say this. This whole video is going to be disappointing to anybody who loves YouTube and who loves my channel. It's disappointing to me. And it is what it is, though. You know, we can't linger in our feelings. So let's just look at the facts for what it is. I love YouTube, period. Well, there's a comma. I wouldn't say a period. There is a comma there, but I do love YouTube. And there's a number of reasons why I love YouTube, but in essence, I love YouTube for its mission statement, what it used to be. Right? What it used to be. It used to be broadcast yourself, right? YouTube, broadcast yourself. I said, hey, that's cool. Okay, I'll broadcast myself because I see that on TV and on the radio and all these other mainstream avenues, they're being controlled by a very select few amount of people who decide who can and cannot get on their platforms based on what they're willing to allow. So I said, I have a narrative that might be different than the mainstream, and I'm unapologetic in the way that I discuss how I feel and the things that I find. So I want to do this YouTube thing, and although it might be a little bit harder to get noticed, when I do get noticed, hey, that's some power there. And the people who do notice it, they're going to say, hey, look, I researched this truth for myself, and I know this guy isn't sold out. So that's why I love YouTube, right? But let's read this article, and let me tell you why this all ties in. So, Alphabet Inc.'s YouTube said on Wednesday it would remove videos from YouTube containing misinformation about expanding its current rules against the falsehoods and conspiracy theories about the pandemic. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read each paragraph, and then I'm going to break it down to you. So let's look at what they're saying here. It says YouTube said on Wednesday that it would remove the videos from their site that contain quote unquote misinformation about this thing here, the thingy thing 19, and the injections, right? So that's the first thing I want to talk to you about. I've told you before, and I've made multiple videos showing, because I've caught YouTube red-handed multiple times, taking away my views. Literally, I'll have 230 views, and the next day it'll be at 110 views. They'll take away my view count. They will not allow me to share certain things. They will delete my comments in mass abundance. They'll delete my comments. They delete the comments that are left on my page for me to read. You know, all type of shit that they've been doing, and I've been catching them. And, most people do believe me when I show them, but then there are those select few who think I'm being paranoid or something. But, hey, guys, this is the fucking proof from the horse's mouth that, look, YouTube said it would remove videos from its platform. So already, that's the first thing I need you to know. Yes, YouTube does remove videos based on what you say. Now, we're going to discuss what that is, but just so you know, YouTube can and will remove your video for quote unquote containing misinformation. Now remember, what is misinformation? Well, in the core sense of it, misinformation is what? It is false information, right? This is what they're alluding to. Misinformation being false information. I guess this is where we can talk about the fake news thing, right? With Donald Trump and all these other people talking about fake news. This alludes to the same type of quote unquote misinformation or false information. When in actuality, it's either a lie or it's not. I don't really like this word misinformation. It reminds me of that George Orwell book, 1984. But is it true or is it not true? Don't talk about this misinformation, because the fact of the matter is, if you put out a set of information, regardless of if it's true or not, if the mainstream narrative puts out a set of information and then I come with an alternative set of information, you can by definition call that misinformation. In other words, let me just make it real simple. If you're the boss and you put out the information, you say this is what it is, and everybody has to follow it. Doesn't matter if it's true or not. I'm the boss. This is what it is. This is the information. And then somebody else comes and says, no, actually, this is the information, the correct information backed up by science and math. Now, you as the boss can call that man a misinformant agent. This is what's going on, and I need you to understand. So let's continue. I'm going to read it one more time. YouTube said on Wednesday it would remove videos from YouTube containing misinformation about the expanding its current rules against falsehoods and conspiracy theories about the pandemic. And again, I've made videos about that as well. You can go look back on my video I made some years ago called The Life of a Conspiracy Theorist, where I first talked about the different challenges of being labeled a quote-unquote conspiracy theorist, and how they've made that particular title and thrown it on anybody to delegitimize the people who actually critically analyze the information put before them, right? Because that's what so-called conspiracy theorists are doing. And by the definition, they've came up with a theory that there is a conspiracy. That doesn't necessarily mean it's false because they have a theory. I mean, isn't gravity a theory? Isn't Isaac Newton's theory? Isn't Charles Darwin theory? Isn't all of it really theory at the end of the day that is substantiated by a certain amount of scientific evidence? But let me continue. So these words, conspiracy theory, are words that you got to look out for, because these are buzzwords that they use to subconsciously convince you that this is not a legitimate claim. It says here that the video platform said it would now ban any content with claims about COVID-19 vaccines that contradict consensus from the local health authorities or the World Health Organization. Now, again, this is deep, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to miss some facts here, but I needed y'all to see this like I saw it. It said that YouTube, it said, is now going to ban. We know what a ban means. It means you're banned. It's not allowed. You are not allowed. It will ban any content with claims about the vaccines that contradict consensus from the... Now, break this down, because language is important. This is why I'm bringing it to you, because we got to break down every word that these devils are saying to you. Because remember, the devil's not necessarily so much a liar. He's just a deceiver. So when the devil tells you something, you got to look in the details, because he's actually telling you the truth in there. He's just doing it in a very subtle way. As the book of Genesis says, that the serpent was the most subtle creature or the beast on the field. So it says that they're going to ban any content with claims that contradict. What does contradict mean? Contradict means says the opposite of. So if I say it's daytime and you come say it's nighttime, that means you just contradicted me. If I say this is red and you say, no, that's blue, that's a contradiction. So it says they're going to ban any content that contradicts or says the opposite of the consensus. What is a consensus? A consensus is a group of people who basically came together and said this is fact. The consensus, you know, when you come and say, hey guys, what's the consensus? Meaning, what have we all come together and put our minds together and came up with the conclusion of the consensus, right? Based on whatever information that you found, you've put it together. This is your consensus. So if I contradict or say the opposite of your consensus, which is a set of information that you and your people put together, And by the way, you and your people here, it says, are the local health authorities, quote unquote. Here's another buzzword, authorities. So the first buzzword that I need you to notice that they'll throw around to convince you, to delegitimize your mind, is conspiracy theory. When they say conspiracy theory, they're trying to make it seem like it's a silly notion. Now, when they say authorities, that's another way that they convince you, but this is in the opposite way. Whereas the conspiracy theory is to make you think it's silly, when they say the authorities, that's to make you think it's serious and that you need to listen to it. So when they say the video platform says it's not going to ban any content with claims about the vaccines that contradict the consensus from local health authorities, automatically they know your brain says, oh shit, the authorities said it. Well, if the authorities said it, it must be true. And that's why if anybody says anything that contradicts the authorities, we're going to ban them. And look who they're working with, the World Health Organization. Now, we could get into the World Health Organization in a whole different time, but these are the same people with Bill Gates and all these other people that we've talked about a million times before that I don't think I have to go to in this video. So let's go to the next paragraph. And I'm almost done, I promise. It says, YouTube said in an email that this would include removing claims that the vaccine will kill people or cause infertility, or that microchips will be implanted in people who receive the vaccine. Now, I'm not even going to go into that part, but that's very interesting, right? They say they're going to remove videos that talk about microchipping people associated with the vaccine. I'll let you look into that. A YouTube spokesperson told Reuters that general discussions in videos about quote-unquote broad concerns over the vaccine would remain on the platform. So that basically means what they decide can stay on will stay on. So I guess if you very carefully walk on eggshells and don't say certain things, don't use certain terms, and really basically don't tell the truth, then you can probably possibly stay on momentarily for a while. But if you're really going hard at these people like I do and other people do and just tell the straight up truth based on facts, nah, you're not going to last for long. So let's see the next. YouTube says it already removes content. Now listen here again, another admittance from these people. YouTube says it already, that means it's been happening, removes content that disputes the existence or transmission of COVID-19, promotes medically unsubstantiated methods of treatment, discourages people from seeking medical care, or explicitly disputes health authorities' guidance on self-isolation or social distancing. Now, that's a lot to break down right there, and I'll let you break that down. But in essence, what it's saying is it already removes content that it doesn't like. If you're saying anything about social distancing that they don't like, or again, look at that word, if it explicitly disputes the health authorities' guidance, oh, you're out of here. So remember, the authorities are the people who raped and robbed our ancestors, set up this land on blood and greed and deceit and torture and disease. Then they put on powdered wigs and they did all this stupid nonsense and called themselves pilgrims. And then they set up some stupid thing that they called the Constitution for them, which never included me or my indigenous melanated people when they said we the people. But now these same people in 2020 are calling themselves authorities. Because I never called you the authority, neither did any of my people. But you called yourself the authority, and now you're saying if we contradict the authorities, you're going to ban us? Okay, sure. Let's go to the next one. Conspiracy theories. There's another one. Again, buzzwords. Conspiracy theories and misinformation, buzzwords about the new have proliferated. Now look at this, y'all. This is very special. It says conspiracy theories and misinformation about the new have proliferated on social media during the including through anti-personalities on YouTube and through viral videos shared across multiple platforms. So again, they're watching our shit. Yeah, YouTube, I know you're watching my shit. Here you're talking about anti-personalities. Who can you be talking about if it's not me and mine? If it's not me and other people like me who talk about this shit and you're calling us anti-personalities, YouTube, that's not fair. I think I have a little bit more to offer to the world than to just be called an anti-vax personality. When in actuality, the reason why I don't want to inject my body with these vaccines is because there's substantiated proof from the scientists who conducted these experiments that there are aborted fetal cells, which means dead baby parts in these vaccines. I don't want that in my body. There's also been swine or pig DNA in some of these vaccines.
Do any vaccines contain egg protein?
Yes, influenza.
Do any vaccines contain gelatin from pigs?
Yes.
Do any vaccines contain gelatin from pigs?
Yes.
Do any vaccines on the childhood vaccine schedule contain human albumin?
Oh, yes.
What is human albumin?
Human albumin is part of human serum. It's part of the blood that is liquid.
That could be problematic, right?
Well, it could be. I mean, if the individual is not healthy.
Or if maybe some of the human blood components bind to some of the aluminum and develop antibodies, self-antibodies, correct?
If they develop antibodies against a serum component, that would not be good.
Do any vaccines on the childhood vaccine schedule contain MRC5 human diploid cells?
Yes. Rubella, varicella, hepatitis A.
What are MRC5 cells?
They are human fibroblast cell strain. They were created by taking fetal tissue and from a particular fetus that was aborted by maternal choice, and the cells, the so-called fibroblast cells, were cultivated.
Do any vaccines on the childhood vaccine schedule contain WI38 human diploid lung fibroblasts?
Well, they used to, but I don't think anything is made in those cells anymore.
If you could turn to page 3 for MMR and MMRV, do you see that within the ingredient list that lists WI38 human diploid lung fibroblasts?
Yes, I do see that.
Isn't it true that human DNA in vaccines is typically purposely fragmented?
Yes, I would say mostly for theoretical reasons, doesn't want to put DNA into intact DNA into vaccines.
These fetuses were all 3 months or older when aborted, correct?
Yes.
These fetuses were all 3 months or older when aborted, correct?
Yes.
What organs did you harvest from these fetuses?
Well, I didn't personally harvest any, but a whole range of tissues were harvested by co-workers.
Okay. And these pieces were then cut up into little pieces, right?
Yes.
And they were cultured?
Yes.
Okay. Some of the pieces of the fetuses were pituitary gland that were chopped up into pieces to okay, included the lung of the fetuses?
Yes.
Okay, included the skin?
Yes.
Kidney?
Yes.
Spleen?
Yes.
Heart?
Yes.
And tongue?
I don't recall, but probably yes.
And tongue?
I don't recall, but probably yes.
Are you aware that one of the objections to vaccination by the plaintiff in this case is the inclusion of aborted fetal tissue in the development of vaccines and the fact that it's actually part of the ingredients of vaccines?
Yeah, I'm aware of those objections.
Okay. Are you an atheist?
Yes.
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 When you were a child, what vaccines did you receive? When you were a child, what vaccines did you receive?
Diphtheria. In childhood, I think it was probably only diphtheria.
Now, this is facts. These are facts. So when I bring you facts that I can substantiate through court testimony, you're calling that a conspiracy theory? Just because you're the authority, you feel like you have the ultimate truth? Interesting. So it says, Conspiracy theories and misinformation about the new have proliferated on social media through the including through anti-personalities on YouTube and through viral videos across multiple platforms. So they know about what we're talking about. They know it and they're fucking scared. That's why they're doing this. Although drug makers and researchers are working on various treatments, are at the heart of the long-term fight to stop the new corona, which has killed more than 1 million people, infected more than 38 million, and crippled the global economy. Here they are with their buffed up numbers, right? 38 million people, killed more than 1 million people, and crippled the economy. All right, whatever, man. Remember, buzzwords, y'all, buzzwords. In the last paragraph here, it says, in its email, YouTube said it had removed over 200,000 whopping videos related to dangerous or misleading or information since early February. So basically, since this thing started, or this whole so-called thing started in early February to March, they've been removing over 200,000 videos related to real people broadcasting themselves, as YouTube says, and just speaking to their audience about what they feel, or the not even what they feel, because most people who are bringing out these videos that I've seen that are so-called misinformation, they're actually bringing out real information. Here's a piece of information for you, YouTube, since you say that we're conspiracy theorists bringing out misinformation. YouTube, tell me, is this information? Is Johnson & Johnson currently paying out billions in dollars in lawsuit money to women for causing ovarian cancer because they had asbestos in their talcum powder? I'll ask that one more time. Johnson & Johnson, the company that makes the baby powder that we all know of with the pink top? Yeah. That Johnson & Johnson, is that company right now in the process of paying out billions of dollars to women for causing ovarian cancer in them because they left asbestos in the baby powder or the talcum powder? Yes or no, YouTube? Oh, yes? Yes, you say. Okay, is that same Johnson & Johnson not among the top 3 potential companies to make the vaccine? YouTube, I'll ask you again. The Johnson & Johnson that is now paying out billions of dollars to women for causing ovarian cancer by leaving asbestos in their talcum powder, is this not the same company that Donald Trump admitted from his mouth multiple times that is in the front running of making a vaccine that could possibly be out before the end of this year?
Hey, y'all, look at this.
On the vaccines, we have many companies that are in final stages for the vaccines. Johnson & Johnson, Johnson & Johnson, Johnson & Johnson. And we're going to have a great vaccine very, very shortly. I think we should have it before the election, but frankly, the politics gets involved, and that's okay. But the FDA is approving things in a matter of weeks that used to take a matter of years.
Oh, you don't know about Johnson & Johnson, do you? It's okay, I got you. So if you look here at Exhibit A, you'll see that over 19,000 women have joined lawsuits against Johnson & Johnson. An appellate court in Missouri upheld more than $2.1 billion in damages against the company, saying they knew there was asbestos in the baby powder. Yeah, the same company that caused ovarian cancer in 20,000 plus women because they knew that there was asbestos in the baby powder. That's the same company that Donald Trump is saying is a great company and that they're going to make the vaccine for you to get injected with. So have fun with that.
You see, we do have real information, and it is backed up by science and math and fact. But it does not fit the mainstream narrative of the people who've called themselves authorities. Again, the people who raped and robbed all of our ancestors to set up this fake fucking government on stolen land. These authorities, if we don't say the same thing as them, then we are misinformant agents, conspiracy theorists, and we're going against the authorities and we need to be banned. So again, I didn't want to take too much of your time, but I needed you to see this. Share the video before they take me off. And you know what I need you to do? Please vibrate higher.
You a paw. Oh, Glory, I can't get no help in here. I have set you a paw.